Hi everyone, this is Katie Adams and I am an autism resource specialist and board certified behavior analyst working with Project Access. Today we just wanted to talk a little bit about behavior mindsets and changing some of our paradigms and just shifting the way that we really think about behavior so that we can create positive learning environments for kids. So let's get to it. So first and foremost, the most important thing to always remember is that behavior is communication. We always joke that our kids are not waking up first thing in the morning and saying to themselves, how can I ruin my teacher's day today? How can I make her cry on the way home and eat Chinese food in bed at 4 p.m.? That is not the intent. Sometimes, yes, they might be telling us things that we don't want to hear, like that they don't like us, or that they don't want us around them at the moment, or that they are angry with us. But ultimately, they are still telling us something. So when we're looking at behavior change, the most important thing we have to always think about is what is it they are trying to tell me, and how can I get them to tell me that same thing or to get the same outcome, but in a little bit more of an appropriate and socially acceptable way. So this is one of my all-time favorite quotes when looking at behaviors in the school setting or really any setting at all. So when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. So when we think about this in terms of behavior and working with our learners with autism, we want to really think about our learning environment. So our classrooms and our school buildings. Are our environments set up to help this kiddo bloom and grow, or is it hindering their growth? So I always like to remind people too that, we're not here in public schools to fix kids or to change kids. We're here to change our environment in hopes that in turn creates positive behavior change for learners. So we're in no way trying to change a kid. We're not here to fix them, to change them in any way. We want to change our environment, our mindsets, our attitudes, our structures, the way we view and think about behavior. We want to change those things, and then that in turn will create positive behavior change within our learners and help create a more successful classroom and school environment. So this quote, these behaviors are happening in front of me, not to me. Again, I know can be hard to remember in the moment when you're dealing with some challenging behavior, because at the time, if you're getting hit or spit on or yelled at, yes, it does feel like those behaviors are happening, to you and are pretty targeted. But we have to just remember that we are just a product. We are just a person, a thing in that kid's environment. If it wasn't us, it would be, a different teacher. If it wasn't in our building, it would be in a different building. If it wasn't in our city, it would be in a different city, et cetera, et cetera. These behaviors are just happening in front of us. So we have to really be able to take that step back and remember, okay, this behavior is happening in front of me. It's not happening to me. And I need to be able to kind of separate that, and really think about ultimately what we're trying to figure out, which is what are they trying to tell me? What is it that these behaviors that are happening in front of me, what is this learner trying to communicate to me? So unfortunately, sometimes this means we have to put aside our pride. At the end of the day, the most important part of working with challenging behavior is we want to find out, again, what it is they want, and we want to give it to them. So a lot of times people will say, talk about power struggles and winning and losing, and they'll say like, oh, this kid's not going to win today. And that crushes me when I hear that, because guys, ultimately we want kids to win. We want kids to get what they want, right? But we just want to do that in a more appropriate way. So rather than Johnny slapping you in the face or hitting or kicking in any way to get what he wants or screaming to get what he wants, we want to teach him to say, can I have that? Or we want to teach him to say, iPad, please. We want to teach him an appropriate way so that he can still get those things that he's wanting. And we want him to win. We want him to learn how to appropriately communicate. That's the end goal for all of our kids. So sometimes this means that we might have to take some steps back, guys. We might have to reduce task demand. We might have to let go of academics for a little bit, because we need to really reinforce and we need to really find ways to positively pair us in school and the learning environment with with good things. So we want our kids to know, when I'm at school, good things happen. When I'm with this teacher, good things happen. When I'm in this classroom, I feel happy and good things happen, and I get things that I like, and I'm respected, and my voice is heard. So sometimes that means we might have to back up a little bit on work and on tasks. And we have to be okay with that, because ultimately we're looking at the bigger picture, and we're teaching these kids, how to communicate for the rest of their lives. And we want that to be a positive experience. So we definitely want to focus our efforts on positive behavior supports over punishment. You might hear people talk about like new school or old school methods of behavior management. And those punishment styles are definitely more of an old school type of behavior management that we're really trying to steer away from. Our goal is always to be proactive rather than reactive. So we want to utilize those positive behavior supports and those antecedent-based strategies, meaning things that we can alter in the environment before behaviors happen, to hopefully avoid them from happening at all. We really want to focus on teaching skills, and that's what positive behavior supports and those antecedent-based strategies are going to do. We have got to steer away from just scolding kids or reprimanding kids. If a kid is constantly standing up in their chair and all you do is say, stop that, don't do that, sit down, we're not teaching them a replacement. We're not teaching them something else to do instead. We're not teaching them that maybe they need to raise their hand and ask for help instead of standing in their chair. We're not teaching them that if they like that feeling of being up high, we can take them to a different place where it's safer and they could stand on something up high. So regardless of what it is that they're trying to tell us, we need to teach them a different way to do that, a different way to get that across. So we have to teach those skills and not just scare learners into behaving the way that we want them to, and not just reprimanding them and telling them over and over to stop and sit down and don't do that. We have to teach what they should be doing instead. And that being said, we always want to focus as much as we can on earning and giving versus taking away. So again, that old school mentality of, well, I've tried taking away everything. I've taken away the iPad. I've taken away recess. Those methods have been proven to just not be as effective as earning positive things for good behavior. And please hear me when I say that doesn't mean we're giving out Skittles and M&Ms for good things kids are doing. We want to pair all kinds of things with positive praise and high fives and tickles and laughing and all kinds of positive attention for those good things that we see. So just to touch on this a little bit more, I just kind of put on this slide some differences between reinforcement and punishment. So reinforcement meaning some of those positive behavior supports that we were talking about. So reinforcement by nature just really means earning systems and focuses on increasing behaviors. So increasing the chance that we're going to see those behaviors happen again in the future. Whereas punishment focuses on decreasing behaviors. There's a less likely of a chance we're going to see those behaviors in the future. And both of these can be for good or bad behaviors, or positive or negative behaviors, I should say. But with reinforcement, again, it focuses on that earning piece rather than taking away, and it really increases buy-in and student engagement. Whereas punishment can have long-lasting negative effects on learners, and it can also induce fear and negative thoughts among learners if not done correctly. And so we have to be really careful about that. And a big reason why a lot of our learners don't like school is because they have had punishment procedures used on them in the past. And it creates that negative pairing that we want to steer away from. So when at all possible, we want to focus our efforts on reinforcement, that positive behavior mentality where students are earning good things when they do good things, and they're getting lots of positive attention, and they're getting to do their favorite activities and all of that good stuff when they're engaging in positive behaviors. Okay, and just to wrap up here, guys, we have some daily thoughts just to think about every day and just to kind of have in the back of your mind. So at the end of the day, we hold a responsibility for learners and their success and safety. So every day we need to ask ourselves, did I provide opportunities today for my kids to have fun and earn reinforcement? And did I provide positive pairing experiences today? Did my learners feel happy to be around me? Did my learners, feel excited when they were able to do fun things with my paras or with myself or with their peers? Did I provide them with a safe environment today where they were able to communicate and express themselves and they were heard? I was able to hear them and acknowledge their communication efforts, and just did they have a successful day? Did I do everything that I could to provide them with these things? It's also our responsibility to do everything in our power to make sure that our kids enjoy coming to school. So again, we have to really focus heavily on that positive pairing piece. So am I providing positive pairing in regards to fun experiences and things that my kids like? Do I know my learners? Am I using things that are of interest to them to pair myself as somebody positive? Am I listening to their communication requests, and am I using things that they like through academic tasks? Am I making sure to just implement happy, positive things for this kid throughout the day to make them want to come to school and to make them want to spend time with us? And then last but not least, we've all seen some pretty horrible things on the news, unfortunately, with school staff working with kids, and generally that stems from a challenging behavior situation. And sometimes we have to know when to tap out. So ask yourself every day, would you be okay with that interaction being aired on the nightly news? Like I said, we've seen some horrible things, and we don't ever want to put ourselves in that situation. So that being said, all of our interactions with kids, guys, they need to be positive. We need to focus on reinforcement, positive pairing, and steer away from those old school punishment type of procedures. We don't want to be caught yelling at kids. We don't want to yell at kids in general. We don't want to scare them. We don't want to just reprimand constantly. We want to teach skills. We want to create a positive learning environment. Okay, guys, thanks so much for listening. This was just kind of a very brief rundown of some behavior thoughts and paradigm mindset shifting that we can utilize to help create positive and successful environments for kids. So thanks so much, and hopefully we will talk to you again soon with more behavior strategies, maybe through other trainings or some of our online workshops. Thanks, guys.